Welcome everybody to a month's worth of marketing, how the most successful advisors spend their time. Again, I'm Samantha Russell, the Chief Marketing and Business Development Officer here at 20 over 10. If you are unfamiliar with 20 over 10, we are a website development and content management system for advisors, so you can build your website on our platform or work with our team to do it for you. We provide a blogging platform, landing pages, and these webinars we host one a month, open to anyone, whether you are a client of ours or not. So thank you all for joining us this afternoon. Again, the webinar is being recorded and will be sent to everyone, including the slides, either tomorrow or early next week. Okay, so here are the key points what we're going to discuss today. First, we're going to talk about a survey that we did that I know a lot of you participated in, so thank you for that. We asked 5 questions to about 200 advisors, and we're going to talk about what their results were and what activities people are partaking in and the results they're getting from those different activities. We're also going to talk about tools. We know that all of you really want to know what we recommend, what other people are using, what tools should you be using to get this done. We're going to talk about that. And then from a manpower and resource perspective, you know, how much time are people spending? What are they budgeting for these activities? Some of that we were just shared in the polls that you all answered. But then most importantly, what is the ROI that you see depending upon the above things? Finally, the last thing we're going to do, in addition to the survey, I speak with advisors every week, and then I actually went back and systematically interviewed many advisors. I've pulled 3 of those conversations that are a good cross-section of typical conversations I have with really highly successful advisors that are getting a lot of leads from digital marketing, and we're going to dive deep into 3 different case studies from those advisors. All right. So let's start with the survey we did. So there were about almost 200 participants. This was put together a couple days ago. We've had more results filter in as well. There were a split between 20 over 10 clients and non-clients. So we did actively seek to get responses from both. If you'd like to contribute to this survey, we will be publishing these results in a series of blog posts that go into way more detail than what I'll present here today. And so we're still looking for people to take the survey. If there are 2 different links, so we are looking at the difference in results between those of you that are using our platform versus those of you that are not. So there are 2 different links. Amanda will put them in the chat box below. We'll also email them out. But it's just 5 questions. So you can even do it while I'm talking right now. These answers will really help us as we continue to do research in the industry about what's working and what's providing the biggest ROI. So these are kind of the background of who we surveyed and how many people participated. So the first question we asked was, how many leads contact you through your website per month? So you can see there we had a little bit more of the non-20 over 10 clients saying only 0 to 1. Then the 2 to 5, 6 to 10, and 11 plus. So this was always music to my ears to see that, you know, the number of people that are contacting you keeps going up, and that the, you know, we are seeing people who are even getting 11 or more clients contacting them per month through their website. On average, how qualified are those leads? This was really interesting to me. We have, on a scale of 1 to 5 here, sorry, it's throwing me off, the 50. So it was a scale of 1 to 5. So 50 means 5. So with the clients that have built websites with us and have worked with our team to create those sites, their leads are super qualified, right? So about 4.5 out of 5. So the people that are contacting them are not wasting their time with those conversations. But even with people on other platforms, the quality of the lead is about a 2.5 total, right? So they're going to see some that are qualified and some that are not. I'm going to talk with you today about what these most successful advisors are putting on their websites in order to allow people to self-qualify and making sure that it's not a waste of your time to go through and have conversations with those leads. But I thought this was really interesting, right? If we're going to take the time to really use digital marketing to get more leads in the door, we don't want to then waste our time having all of these conversations each week with clients that are never going to be a good fit for our firm. So it's really important that we're hyper strategic with the way we position ourselves on our website so that when someone does contact us, we already know they're going to be a good fit, right? So people seeing the best results, here are the things that they were doing at a minimum, okay? So the most popular tools to collect those leads through the website, number one, most popular and also the most powerful when it comes to return on investment is a calendar scheduler link right on your website. I still hear from advisors who do not do this because they are scared that they are going to get a lot of leads that are not a good fit for their business and it's going to waste their time. If you go back to the slide before, if you set up your website appropriately, and again, you know, we'll talk about what we do here to make this happen, a 4.5 out of 5 in terms of how qualified the leads are, that's really good, right? So once you've set up your website appropriately, then you don't need to worry about putting your calendar out there for people and having those people waste your time. By not putting your calendar directly on your website, and I always say above the fold, so right when somebody lands on your site, it should be one of the first things they see, the ability to book on your calendar. If you do not do this, what you're really risking is people landing on your site being interested and then just leaving, right? We know, research has shown, we need to tell people what step to take next. And so putting that calendar link right on there is really, really powerful. If you're not going to do a calendar link or you want something else in addition to a calendar link for those who aren't ready yet, these were the next most popular. So actually we found the Emoney lead capture tool was being highly used by many, many advisors to good success rates. This is something, if you're already an Emoney user, it is free for you to use. So you can add it to any page of your website. It's just a URL. On 20 over 10, any URL can be made into a button, so you can get it added to any page. And it will take people, have them answer a few questions, and then put all their contact information into your Emoney tool so you can see those leads captured there. The next most popular was having some sort of checklist, guide, or ebook. And our research has shown that the shorter is better, actually. So if you have a 20-page ebook about what to do the 5 years leading up to retirement, it's actually better to completely shorten it down to a 1-page checklist, or maybe, you know, a 5-page checklist, 1 page for every one of those 5 years. Shorter is better. People are overwhelmed by what they need to do. So the more you can distill it down, the better it will be. And then the last most popular, this one is actually used probably the most, but in terms of effectiveness, is having somebody be able to sign up for your blog or subscribe to your email list. A lot of people are doing that, which is good to see, but it doesn't always provide the same immediate ROI. So for the highest conversions, right, the total number of people visiting your website, how do you capture the most contact information? The first and most popular that we will always recommend and what people have the most success with is just adding a calendar scheduler right there on your website. And if you are a multi-advisor firm, the nice thing is these tools have come a long way. You can segment it out so that, you know, each advisor has their own link. You can even partition it into, if you're a current client, click here. If you're a prospect or a new potential client, click here, what have you. In terms of what your website should be helping you to do, having a blog, it should be right there as a part of your website. It should make it very easy for you to do that because, as you'll see as we go through, it's going to be a big component of driving leads and capturing them. It should also allow you to optimize your site for SEO. So the most popular platforms for those we surveyed, obviously 20 over 10 was the most popular. It was our survey. But after that, WordPress was the second most popular. And I think a lot of people use it because there is a lot of SEO optimization you can do on WordPress. So we like to see that. The third most popular in our survey respondents or people I interviewed was FMG. So those were the top 3. Whatever platform you use, you really want to make sure that you can have a blog and add original content. You can optimize your posts for SEO and that you can add video really easily. And we'll talk about that more. In terms of what people are spending on time-wise on their website, most people have one staff person devoted to the website and they're spending 10 to 15 hours a month. 10 to 15 hours a month total on that website. So keep that in mind as you are thinking about what you need to do in order to be successful. So that breaks down to just a couple hours a week, but that would include adding blogs, updating bio photos, adding videos, all that good stuff. And then after the initial setup, nobody was spending more than $350 a month on the website. That was at the high end of things. Most people were spending about $100. It was right in that range per month or less on their website. Okay, some key findings. So we first wanted to go through all the results and look at people who never ever received qualified leads from their website. What were some commonalities that they had? So here are some things that people who never get a lead have in common. They're missing basic SEO data on their websites. So they're not coming up in organic searches at all. People cannot find their website online. They had no call to action on the homepage, what we call above the fold. So if you visit their website, there's no button that says learn more or schedule a time with us or contact us. There's nothing telling you what action to take next. They do not have a link to an online calendar, and their website language was typically very, very generic. So there's no way for the lead themselves to qualify themselves to say, yes, I'm a good fit for this company, or no, I'm not, right? So these are all things that if you don't want any leads, you should do. If you want leads, you want to make sure that you are taking care of and addressing these spots. So on the flip side, people who were getting between 6 and 11 or more leads per year. So we had two different answers there. You could get 6 to 10 leads a year. I'm sorry, 6 to 10 clients a year from digital marketing, or 11 or more. So remember, we had two different questions. The first one was, how many leads are you getting? And then the second question was, of those leads, how many turn into clients, right? So this is the people who actually are not only getting a lot of leads, but those leads are turning into real, true clients for them. Here's what they all had in common. Again, we looked individually at each one of their websites because with the survey, we asked everyone to give us their website URL. And here's what they had in common. They had a calendar link right on their website. They made it super easy for people to just book. Again, number one takeaway from this webinar today, if you do not have a calendar available for people to book with you online, get one added. Even at 20 over 10, you guys might be shocked to hear this, we did not have our sales team's calendar publicly available until about 8 months ago. When we added that, we saw the number of bookings per week shoot up by like 200%. So it's huge, huge, huge to get it added. All of these clients, or all of these advisors who were getting 6 to 10 or 11 or more clients per year had a blog. They were blogging regularly, and they were making sure that their whole entire website was SEO friendly. They were also targeting some sort of specific audience. So I know a lot of you will say, well, I don't have a niche. You know, I don't just serve physicians, or I don't just serve athletes. But that's okay. You can be niche specific in other ways. Maybe, you know, it's something about the way you're a faith-based advisor, or maybe it's your location. Your location is a niche when it comes to SEO. So helping people find you online, if you want to target people in Littleton, Colorado, where you live, that's your niche. That's fine. That's the community in which you reside. But you need to put that then directly on the homepage of your website. And again, I'll show you more here in a minute. And then your language on your homepage. All of these advisors did a fantastic job writing the copy on the homepage to be what we call problem solution based. So instead of saying, hi, welcome to Samantha Russell Financial Planning, where I provide comprehensive financial plans for my clients, right? It's all about me and what I do. It's, hi, welcome, you know, hi, or maybe they don't even say hi and welcome. They say, providing customized financial planning for busy and motivated professionals who don't have time to allocate to financial management, right? And that is telling those people who are landing on their site, oh, yes, that's me, you know, allowing those people to raise their hand and say, I'm super busy. Yes, I'm a motivated professional, and I do not have the time to deal with this right now. So it's allowing those folks to self-qualify. That's what all of these high performers had in common. They also were really likely to incorporate video. The numbers kept changing on the exact percentages, but about 35% of them had video somewhere on their website. And then if we were diving even deeper into what they were doing on social media, or if they had a YouTube channel, that number went up to about 50%. So they were using video as a way to connect with prospects. And then this was really interesting. Roughly 50% had a as seen on or featured in section where they would put the logos of places that they had been featured as an expert, right? So investment news, or the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, anywhere where they've been featured, to show prospects that they are a thought leader, that they do have expertise that these large media publications are calling on them for. And then one of the most interesting ones, in my opinion, is that there was sort of this split. There was people who either were updating their website all of the time and getting a lot of traffic from blogging and SEO, or there was people that really weren't updating it all that often at all, but they were part of a network like NAPFA, the Garrett Planning Network, where the network was doing a ton of consumer education. And that network's name was constantly in the news. Consumers were seeing it, and then consumers would go to that network's website and then find an advisor from there, right? So the Garrett Network, let's say, is on in an article, they interview Cheryl Garrett. She mentions what her network does, what they provide. A consumer goes to look it up, and then they click the Find an Advisor button, and then they're led to one of these websites of one of these advisors. So really, the only way you can get away with not blogging all that often or updating your website frequently and still getting leads is by being a part of one of these associations that does that advocacy and that consumer education work for you, that has a Find an Advisor lookup. That was really the only scenarios we saw where people were still getting a high percentage of clients coming in through the website, cold bookings, but they were not blogging routinely. Okay, before I move on to social media, I'm just gonna look at some questions here that have come in as we've been talking. Just escape here. So a couple questions that people have asked. SEO, what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. So that is simply, is your site set up to allow people to find you online? If someone searches financial advisor and then puts in the name of where you're located, where does your website show up? So financial advisor, Cleveland, Ohio, or financial advisor, Orlando, Florida. If they are physically in that location and doing a search on their phone, they don't even need to put the location, and Google will understand that they are located there and show the results. We also had some other questions about calendar schedulers. Some people saying that, you know, they either don't have one and they can't get the superiors at their firm to allow them to use it, or maybe their broker dealer doesn't allow them to have one. I don't have any creative solutions for that in terms of like a workaround, but let me brainstorm about that. Maybe we can come up with a solution or think of some and do a blog post about it. If you are using, you know, another calendar scheduler that's not Calendly, absolutely, you can still integrate those. Any calendar scheduler that you have should give you just a straight URL, right? So that when you click on it here, I'll just show you on our website. We use Intercom. So Intercom is a live chat function, and they have different features. And we also use Outreach, which is a sales enablement tool, and they have a calendar. So when you come to our website and you click this schedule a demo button, you see it just brings you to this link, right? So that button is just rerouting me to a link. If you have a link to your calendar, you can turn it into a button on any page of your website, or you should be able to. You definitely can with 20/10. You should be able to on other platforms. So that's what we mean when we're talking about if you have a calendar URL, you should be able to add it to your website. Okay. In terms of some other questions, great questions everyone is asking, by the way, and thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys are finding this helpful. In terms of the, you know, don't wanting your calendar scheduler on your website, I have seen other people do it where they have like a section of their website that will say, like for clients only, if they want to make it so that their clients can book on their calendar, but other people cannot. And then it sort of just allows people to understand if they're not a client that they're going to get an email back saying, hey, I noticed you booked on our calendar, but this is reserved for clients. So if you want to use it that way, you can. However, my goal in telling you about the calendar is that it's really, really helpful to have for lead generation, right? So if you are going to use one, you really want to make it available to anyone, because again, if you are putting verbiage on your website to allow people to self-qualify, you guys should not have to worry about just any, Tom, Dick, or Sally coming in to schedule on your site who's not going to be a qualified lead. So you really need to start with making sure that you are explicitly saying who you serve in your copy. Whether or not the calendars sync with other tools, yes, most of them do. You can check with your CRM. A lot of CRMs have a calendar widget you can use, or if you're using a live chat option, they often have calendar widgets as well. We have a blog post all about different calendar tools and which ones we recommend that we can share as well. And in terms of the question about the calls to action, where you put it and everything, I just always suggest that it be what we call above the fold. So you can see here's my website, 20over10.com. These schedule a demo and get started are calls to action above the fold. Anyone who lands on our website is going to see them when they land. If those two buttons were down here, right here, that would be below the fold. So that would mean that they have to scroll in order to see them. Our research has shown that the websites that get the highest number of leads have calls to action above the fold. And I was really shocked, you guys, when I went through these 189, every single response, about 50% had no call to action above the fold at all. So that's a huge number. So if you do not have one, you want to get that added in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to social media. So let's talk a little bit about social media. Most advisors are not spending any money. They're not boosting posts. They're not doing paid ads, and they're still finding success. So that's perfectly fine. The amount of time was about 1 to 3 hours per week. Now this is a little skewed, right? Because this is everything. So you might be on Facebook looking at pictures of your friends' babies, and then all of a sudden switch over to your business profile and do something else. So it's sort of hard to tell exactly how much time you're spending for work versus for pleasure. But the overall amount of time is not that much, and people typically are fitting it into pockets of time throughout their day in other places, right? So over lunch, they sign on, things like that. The big way that people are minimizing the amount of time they're spending every week is by pre-scheduling content out in advance. So rather than needing to post all of this content in real time, you're constantly then on your phone or on your desktop trying to add new articles and updates. At the beginning of the month, sitting down, using a tool to preload what pieces of content you're going to have go out. And then during the work week, all you need to do is work on engaging with other people. So if you've already pre-scheduled out, okay, on Monday, I'm going to have a video post. On Tuesday the following week, I'm going to have my latest blog post go up. Then when you sign on to LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, you can just like other people's posts, comment on them, share new things you find relevant, and you're not trying to share the content you've already prepared in advance. And then here are some of the most popular tools people mentioned that they were using when it comes to those scheduling. A lot of people are not using any tool at all. They're just logging into every single app manually and dealing with it that way. If you do not have a content scheduling app for social media, there's a lot of really great ones out there. Some come with content pre-written for the financial services industry. Some come without it. It sort of depends on what you're looking for. And 20 over 10 has a really exciting product that's going to be coming out in the coming months that will also allow for social media scheduling, post scheduling, called Market Assist, which I'll share more about a little bit later. But we're really excited about that. It's been something a lot of you have asked for. So let's talk a little bit about the audiences, because this is something I'm asked about a lot. If you don't feel you have time or an inclination to be on every platform, then you don't need to be. It's better to be really active and engaged on one or two than to try to be on all of them. What I see happen a lot is firms will get a blog and they'll say, check out my latest blog post. That's literally what they type. And then they schedule it to go on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everything. And they don't change up the message. It goes out on the exact same time and the exact same day on all these platforms, right? That's not a strategy. That is just pushing out your content to everyone at the exact same time. If you want to be strategic, you need to think about who is on each platform. So on Facebook, we have a lot of retirees, we have a lot of baby boomers. The young people are no longer even on Facebook, right? If you talk to younger people, teenagers, early 20-somethings, they don't even go on Facebook anymore unless they have a business. They've moved on to other platforms. But a lot of retirees, grandparents, they are on Facebook. LinkedIn, if you're trying to connect with a retiree, do not go to LinkedIn because they're retired. It is a professional platform where people who are working are on. So you want to think about people who own businesses. If you're trying to get in front of other centers of influence, like estate planning attorneys or CPAs, that would be a good place to go. If you want to get featured more in the media, you want people to pick up your writing, I would suggest Twitter. It's a great place where journalists will source leads. They'll look for experts that they can get in front of. It's a great place to follow, fintech or different tools that you might be interested in. It's a great place to connect with people when you go to conferences and they have a hashtag. I don't find almost any advisor getting any leads from Twitter at all. So unless you're serving your niche of who you serve, it's people within the media, that is not where you're going to find clients. Correct me if I'm wrong. If any of you have ever gotten a client from Twitter, I would love to hear it. So please let us know. Actually, that's a great question for all of you. Where from all of these platforms, if any, are you getting any leads? Or is anyone getting any leads where they're, connecting with someone on LinkedIn and then able to follow up with them via email, or having somebody, direct message them? Please let me know. I'd be really curious. Or maybe they saw your video on YouTube. But this is sort of who's on these different platforms, right? Everyone is on YouTube because you don't need a profile to be on YouTube. We can all search for something in our desktop, be taken to YouTube and get an answer. So YouTube is great because everyone's on it just because of the nature of how it works as a platform. And then Instagram is still really the 50 and under crowd. But there's a lot of creatives there. There are a lot of working professionals there as well. So that's sort of the audiences for each of those platforms. Okay. Out of here one more time. And just see, sorry, I can't see the chat if I have it open at the same time. So a lot of people are saying that they've connected with CPAs, they've seen results from LinkedIn the most, which is in line with what I have found as well. LinkedIn definitely seems to be the platform that people will get the most results from. And I'm going to share with you now how most people are doing it. Okay. So the first thing that the most successful advisors are doing is they're following what we call the 60-40 rule. So they will share other people's content. They will like and make comments on other people's content 60% of the time. 60% of their activity is engaging with others' posts. 40% of the time, they post their own content. So it's much more talking and socializing with others than it is posting links back to your own website or blog. So that is really important. The second thing that the most successful advisors who are getting leads from social media are doing is that they will comment on what we call a stranger or somebody that they don't know's post. So a second or third degree connection, right? So if you're connected with one of your clients and your client is friends with somebody else and that person posts something, commenting on it. Now, if it's like a personal photo of their family, of course, that would be awkward. But let's say they post something about, all the most successful leaders or CEOs do this before 5 a.m. every day, or, do this over lunch. And you make a comment saying, oh, I found that I do this and it works for me. That person's going to say, oh, who's that person? And they'll click on your profile. And when on LinkedIn where it says mutual connections, they will see that you and their friend are a mutual connection, right? And so then they'll see you're an advisor and they'll just kind of be in the back of their mind. They will come up now, you'll come up in each other's feeds now that there's been a little bit of engagement, and potentially over time, they could find your content that you are sharing relevant as well. So commenting or liking those second and third degree connections is a really valuable way to make connections on LinkedIn. The other thing, and this is really crucial, is that people who are finding success on these platforms will follow up, bullet point 3, by an email or add them to a drip campaign after a certain amount of engagement. So if you connect with someone on LinkedIn, they're a completely cold lead, and now they're in your feed, maybe they like a couple of your posts or you like some of theirs, you can add them in LinkedIn. You can get their contact information, their email, and you can send them a blog post or two, right? As long as they have the ability to unsubscribe or tell you, hey, don't send me this anymore. That's crucial. But you can send them some information. Some of the advisors who have gotten tons of clients from LinkedIn, this is the strategy that they use. So they will go to LinkedIn under the contact tab, they'll find the person's email, and then they'll send them a blog post or two saying, hey, I thought you might like to read this. They're not pushing anything, they're not being salesy, but they are finding those mutual interests and points that are of interest to the person based upon what they've shared or what they've commented on to send them content, right? The most successful advisors are also all using personal profiles. They do not use business profiles in order to engage and interact. So of course you need to have social media profiles for your business, but personal profiles is where people will be more vulnerable, more authentic, and want to connect with you. Think about your own activity on social media. What's it like to send a message to an individual versus to a brand, right? People do not send really personalized messages to brands most of the time because it seems like this faceless company. And so that can happen as well with either small businesses. So use your own personal social media profiles. Okay, posting video. This one is huge. As I mentioned before, when we looked at that 6 to 10 or 11 or more clients that the most successful advisors were getting a year from digital marketing, 50% of them were using video. So creating videos, very simple videos, right? Use your iPhone, use your Android phone, your smartphone to create a video, post it to social media, create a YouTube, put the videos there, and you can make such stronger connections because of all of the nonverbal and verbal cues that come in as well. Also, all of the social media profile or platforms are prioritizing video, which means that they will show video posts in the news feed more than other kinds of posts. So some of you probably have seen my posts from LinkedIn. We found that out, and so I started recording them, and I add them all the time. Raise your hand or tell me if you've seen one of mine before, if you got a topic you want me to cover. But the reason we're doing that is because LinkedIn and all the other platforms are prioritizing those videos. What you do need to do is post what we call natively to every platform. So if you have a video, you can't just go upload it to YouTube and then pop that YouTube link into LinkedIn and then into Facebook. It will not prioritize it that way. They see it as YouTube content. If you want them to give it a boost and show it to more people, you need to manually add it to LinkedIn. So this is more of a manual process. You have to go in and add it. You can't schedule it using Hootsuite or something if you want that same boost. I'm going to keep going just because we have so much to get to still. We are, of course, always coming up on time. In terms of the, videos, though, let us know. Like, have you seen a video that, have you seen other people using videos on LinkedIn or on Facebook? People were asking about captioning services. I listed one here. Clips is one for iPhone that's really good that you can use. It comes with the iPhone. And then AutoCap is one for Android. So that is really easy. Somebody asked about the price of the Emoney lead capture tool. There is no cost to it as long as you are using Emoney. So if you have the Emoney planning tool and you're already using it, you can contact them and it's included. Okay. Let's go on to blogging. I had another question about posting third-party content. So in terms of social media, you don't want to just post things that are your own authorship. You should definitely curate other people's content. And this is a great way to build your network too, right? So if you have a friend who is a accountant and you don't do tax preparation and tax season is rolling around and you want to share some of their articles that they've written and, tag them in them, then that accountant friend would be much more likely to share your blog content, right? And you can even contact them and say that, hey, I know tax season is coming up. I'd love to share some of your articles. And then maybe around back to school time, you can share some of mine on college planning, right? So you can do like a swap. You can also reach out to people you've never met before. I do this every single day. I will find someone online that's doing a great job providing a valuable content or valuable information for advisors, and I'll say, would you like to be featured on 20 over 10's blog? And most often they'll say, sure, wow, we looked at your content, we'd love to share it on ours as well. Every Monday on 20 over 10's blog, we do a post where we say things that you should be, 5 little things for your Monday. And let me just find it, here we go. And so we will go through, so here's Think Advisors, a lot of you may read that, or Social Media Today, or Top Advisor Marketing, and we find posts that are within the industry that are, you know, really great and we think are valuable, and we will put a quick paragraph about it, link to it, and then when we share this on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, we'll say 5 things you should read this Monday with articles from, and then we'll tag Search Engine Land, Top Advisor Marketing, Social Media Today, Think Advisor, and guess what? They all will reshare it, right? And now all of their audience is seeing it in their feed. So this is another great strategy. If there's people you think, oh, I would love it if they would reshare some of my stuff, it's perfect from, their audience is perfect for my articles, you can do a strategy like this really easily. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's super easy to write because you're just recapping their articles and linking back to them. Okay. Great questions, great commentary. Thank you, everyone. Oh, someone was saying Emoney did used to charge for the lead capture. Last I heard, it was included. Of course, Emoney is not my product, so I should not speak on behalf of their company. Definitely check that out with them about the price. Thank you, Fran, for letting us know. Okay, so we definitely have already talked about blogging a little bit with the website, so I'm going to kind of zoom through this quickly. But just in terms of how often everyone here is blogging and the survey that we got, almost 40% never ever post a blog. And when we went back and looked, most of those who never blog also are getting 0 leads at all. So they're not getting any leads. The sweet spot is at least 1 to 2 times a month. If you can commit to adding a piece of original content at least once or twice per month, you will see an ROI for that. So if you're wondering, like, what's the bare minimum that I can blog and see results, it would be 1 time a month. In this industry where not as many people are doing it. These are the most popular resources people were using. Again, we surveyed our own audience. Content Assist is 20 over 10's content library. So if you're a user of ours and you have Content Assist activated here, under Manage Posts, you can come in here and you click Add New. All of the content is there. You simply add the post that you want, and then when you select the post, you'll have the ability to edit it as well, right? So if you want to say, instead of need to reduce your small business tax bill, you could say, do you own a small business in Phoenix, Arizona? Try this to reduce your bill. And you can add your keywords and things like that in it. So this is a service that a lot of people are using, which is great to get more blog posts added. Marketing Pro was one that was mentioned a lot. And then also people just hiring a third-party marketing company or ghostwriter. Blogging definitely takes the most amount of time. So if you remember at the beginning, I said people were spending anywhere from 10 to 15 hours a month. This 5 to 20 hours per month is the range we saw for blogging overall. So that's definitely eating up the biggest piece of the pie. And the correlation, remember I said, you know, what's the bare minimum once a month? For those that were blogging at least 2 times a month, they were on average, for the most part, getting 3 or more qualified leads per month. So if your site is already optimized for SEO and you are blogging more regularly, you're going to have a much higher chance of getting those qualified leads in the door. The easiest way to get your site ranking higher also is to blog regularly. You do need to use original content or edit a content that is provided to you. So like I just showed you, right? If you're using Content Assist, you need to go in and edit those articles to include your geographic location or the niche audience you serve if you want it to boost your SEO. If you use it as is, yes, Google will see, okay, this website is more up to date, but it will not get you ranking for those keywords that you want to rank for. So we just talked about that. We have this article here that Amanda can pop in the chat, 5 steps to writing an SEO-friendly blog post. I saw when I was looking at these websites, so many websites that had blogs that they were posting regularly. And I'm sure some of you are thinking this. I do blog twice a month and I'm not getting any leads. And there was a lot of people that were adding posts that was just like market summary. That is not going to do anything for you, right? It needs to be specific to your audience. So if you serve women who've gone through a divorce, you know, something like 5 steps or 5 things you should know about a quadro, or 5 things a woman going through a divorce should know about a quadro. Or if you serve people with college planning needs, or, you know, couples that have kids that are doing college planning, you want to write articles about that, right? So you need to include the keywords in your posts and make it really hyper specific to your audience. Don't just say recent market summary, right? Because that's not specific to any one person. It's applicable to anyone, and therefore it's not going to boost your website for any specific term. Okay, before I move on to the next 2 components, just look at a couple questions here, and then we're going to go through email marketing, and then I'm going to share 3 case studies, as I mentioned, of specific advisors. So somebody asked, how do you know, if a lead is coming in from one particular area versus another? You typically want to have it set up so that within your website, you have different lists people can get added to depending upon where they're clicking. So that's one of my other favorite reasons about having those calendar schedulers, is that you can easily see where, when someone gets added that they're a prospect. Depending on which one you use, it can tell you which page of your website that person is coming from. If you're using a calendar scheduler that doesn't tell you that, I would just, in your notes of what you ask somebody, just ask them, like either where did you hear about me or what brought you here, so that you can track that information a little bit. In terms of on your website though, if you have somebody signing up for your newsletter versus downloading an ebook, you should have different lists that those people get added to. So for instance, Mailchimp, if you're using Mailchimp, you would segment your subscribers into all different kinds of lists. So you might have ebook lists, you might have email subscriber lead lists, current client lists. And every time somebody completes one of those on your website, they get added to one of those relevant lists, so you can track which lead generation tools are working. If you're using Emoney's, it's going to just go into Emoney's backend, and you'll be able to tell from that. So that would be that. Okay, let's move on to email marketing. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned Google Analytics. You can also use Google Analytics to find some of that. It's more about overall tracking though than like hyper-specific each individual person, depending on how you have it set up. But yeah, I would suggest first and foremost using something like Mailchimp and adding them to different leads in your Mailchimp. All right, let's talk about email marketing. So what's really interesting about email marketing is that, I'll just go back to this in 1 second. It is the #1 tactic to produce the most immediate ROI, beyond just having that calendar widget on your website. So in terms of like actions you can take, right? So with the calendar widget, you put it on your website and you're kind of just sitting there waiting, hoping people schedule. With email marketing, it's something you can proactively do to get people to eventually make contact with you, right? So something to consider, all of our findings show that the highest engagement comes from non-finance related content. So what do we mean by this? The advisors who are finding success with email marketing, they'll set up their email list and they'll segment them. So they'll have a list for their leads, a list for clients. Their leads could even be broken down further into leads from LinkedIn or leads from their ebook that they have on their website. And then they send those lists content. But rather than just say, here's the most recent posts from my blog, they will create a template that's more like a newsletter style. And they might send it out once a week. Some people sent it weekly and some people send it monthly. We really didn't have bi-weekly or anything like that. There really wasn't that much of a difference between people sending weekly versus monthly in terms of ratio of success. So you could do it just once a month and be just as successful as the person doing it every week. But what you need to do is include non-finance related content. So let's say at the top of your e-blast that you send out every month, your newsletter, you say, you know, from the blog, and then you have a piece of content from your blog about HSAs. And then further on, you say like what we're up to this week. Oh, we're going to be attending this conference, or our team is volunteering with this, or I'm traveling to meet with my study group, you know, whatever it may be. And then at the bottom, you have something, you know, maybe you send it on Thursdays and it's Throwback Thursday. And every Thursday you share a picture of you from when you were growing up. Or maybe it's Throwback Thursday, but you share a favorite band, you know, back from the 70s or 80s or 90s or whatever, that you love to listen to. That we have people who will tell me they'll always include a picture of their kid from that month doing something funny, and all of their clients and even their leads will comment on that picture of their child. Or we have folks who will say that they you know, include a link to their favorite Netflix, like binge-worthy show for the month, or books that they're reading. It just, anything that kind of humanizes you and makes you more approachable and more of a person that someone can relate to, right? Because we all know that people choose to do business with somebody that they can like and trust. And you can't trust somebody that you don't know. So you have to build rapport, you have to get to know people, and you can really do that through this email marketing. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to show that because email marketing is the easiest way to drip on people over time and eventually convert them. This was the question of the leads you're getting, how many convert to clients per year? So the most popular answer was 1 to 2. So if you are taking the time, you know, if you're spending a few $1,000s and you can get 1 to 2 clients per year from that to cover your costs or far exceed them, definitely worth it. You know, sometimes we spend this money up front and we don't see any result for a while. But again, because of the nature of the business, even just getting 1 new client a year can often, by far and away, pay for the activity that you are doing. Oh, sorry. So the most popular tools people were using were Mailchimp and Constant Contact. But again, not a huge time commitment, less than an hour a week after the initial setup. So once you use, you know, your tool, whether it's Mailchimp, Constant Contact, whatever it is, to set up your email newsletter, you're able to just go in every month and pop in the new content, update the sections, and send it out. And it's not a huge time commitment. Most of the advisors we talked to who were doing this successfully were using the free version of these tools. They didn't have to pay. Once your list gets to a certain number of contacts, you may need to pay. So keep that in mind, but usually still it's pretty minimal. You can have, you know, like 11,000 leads in Mailchimp and pay like $100 a month. So it can be very minimal depending on the number of contacts that you have. Again, you always want to segment your list, and somewhere in your email you should link back to your website or have your calendar scheduler available. Okay, so now the fun part. And I know we have about 8 minutes left, so I'll go through this and you guys can keep pinging me with any questions. I'll stay on a little bit later as well to make sure I answer any remaining questions. And I'll put up or Amanda, if you want to put the marketing email in, we'll make sure that we answer all of your questions as well. So these are a couple firms that we talked to, and here are some of the results that they had. So this one, WC Financial, there's 5 advisors in this firm, no support staff. They're looking at the local Wisconsin area. They have a specific area within Wisconsin that they're trying to get clients from. And they have 2 websites. The main website for, you know, people in their local area, people that they would normally serve, and then a separate website for expats. So a separate website focused completely on expats. They do 1 blog post per week. And they have, again, just confirmed what I'm telling you. Their best performing posts are always their slice of life, where they just do like a highlight or an update on one of the advisors and what's going on with them, or their community posts where they'll feature someone in their community. So maybe their favorite coffee shop, or maybe a local nonprofit that they love, and they will tag those people in those posts on social media, and they get tons of comment engagement on them. They also have a podcast that they host on SoundCloud. They use a Zoom microphone for, and Audacity for editing. And they do that, I believe it's once every other week. And then they said they spend about 10 to 12 hours per week total on all of the marketing, but it's all done by one person. And they do have a Calendly link that drives the new prospect bookings. They're sending one email a week per Mailchimp, but they're only sending it to current clients. So they're not using email marketing for prospects at all, which I said that they absolutely should be. But some recent results. So at the time of the conversation, I'd said, tell me a little bit about what results you're seeing. They had gotten 7 prospect meetings in the last 2 weeks, 5 of which were qualified. And in the last year, they had 2 new clients from digital marketing. So they had just, when I spoke to them, started their podcast and some of their more robust digital marketing efforts, and they were seeing more leads come in the door. Their thought and their goal was to boost the total number of new clients for the year up to 10 this coming year with the new activities that they were doing. Okay. The next firm that I talked to that I wanted to talk about today, because this firm is with a broker-dealer, and they do not have a calendar link on their website. So I'm trying to show a range of different firms. They were 3 advisors in the office plus 2 admins and 1 marketing or office manager. They do have a website, but very little original content that they were doing. Most of that content they were getting from other sources like a marketing pro. Their audience was local area in Colorado, and they served baby boomers and young professionals. So they had a blog post per month, and were spending about 5 hours per week on all of their digital marketing. And then the big thing that they were doing that I thought was really interesting was a lot of events. So events and webinars, things like, meet us at Starbucks and we'll answer your questions, and people could bring a friend. Shredding events for clients, private showings of movies, things like that. And they were getting about 1 to 2 qualified leads per month from their drip marketing. So, they're getting these leads from other events, able to put them in a funnel and then drip on them, and then seeing those people really turn into good leads. And they were getting good SEO ranking in their local area from the way that they had set up their website. I'm going to skip to these slides will all be available to you, but I kind of just wanted to show you those as a way of how different people put this together, so that you could see for yourself, it's going to look different for everyone. The tasks that you take to make this happen is going to look different for you than it does for another firm, and that's perfectly fine. It should look different for everyone because you all have different businesses and different, client types that you want to serve. So what I wanted to just move on to showing you is that we've heard it loud and clear from a lot of you that this is very overwhelming, that there's a lot of moving pieces to this, and that it can be frustrating to have to go between your email marketing provider and your website provider and getting original content and creating these landing pages and finding where the leads are coming in. So we have created this amazing platform. I'm so excited to unveil it here shortly, called Market Assist. It is going to be an all-in-one platform to help you do all of these things that you need to do in order to be successful, right? So to have that content, to create those landing pages, to be active on social media, to post things in advance, all of the things that you need to do. It's not out yet, but I am currently looking for about 50 people to do a soft launch of this product. So if you go to marketassist.io, you can put your email address in here and get notified, and I will be reaching out to people. We're not going to just be opening it up to the public just yet. In about the next 6 weeks, we will have the soft launch, and then the hard launch will be shortly after that. So keep your eye peeled for that. We're really excited about that. We've wanted to have a product for a while that will help address this because we know so many of you do have so many questions. In the meantime, you can contact us this way. I am very active on LinkedIn. It's my favorite platform, as I know everyone has their own favorite. If you go to LinkedIn and you just click Samantha C. Russell as my contact, you can connect with me there, and I will post all of the webinar information. I always post slides. I'll be posting the survey. I'd love to connect with you there, and if you want to send me more info, that's a great way to do it as well. So I'm going to stay on and answer some more questions for anyone who has questions about tools. What tools are people using? Cost, how many manpower, like any of those things, please let us know. So let me just go through and look at some of these. Okay, somebody asked me to define what a drip campaign is. So a drip campaign, if you think of a faucet that's dripping, it drips once and it's a little bit later and then it drips again. It's the idea that over time, rather than opening up the floodgates and just, totally overwhelming people with content or constantly reaching out to them, you should drip on them a little bit over time. So if you have a new lead or a prospect that wants to engage with you, first you send them, a really helpful blog post that you wrote that's maybe one of your top performers. And then maybe a couple weeks later, you send them a video that you recorded. And then maybe a couple of weeks after that, you have something about a webinar upcoming that you're going to give. A webinar is another great idea. If you don't have a budget for events, host a webinar. You all have so much thought leadership to share. Giving it away for free is one of the best ways to get new prospects. And you'll often get other advisors who may not have your specialty or your niche, who will sing your praises on social media and clue people into you, right? So there's a lady who I love who she calls herself the 401k lady on LinkedIn, and she does all these great videos and she's always educating people, and other advisors who that's not their specialty will send people her way and say, check out this video. So again, being as forthcoming with the knowledge that you do have is a great way on social media to get more people connecting with you. Other questions that people have, and keep them coming. Somebody asked where we get ideas for our videos. So anytime anyone asks a question, even all these questions coming in today, I will write them down, and then every week, Amanda, who's behind the scenes interacting with all of you, will remind me that I have a video to record, and I record it on Monday mornings after I drop my son off from school. So that's why you'll often see me in the car when I'm recording them. Just a little tidbit, I actually did a video about that this week. If you're having a hard time sitting down and committing to going on social media or finding the time to blog, or you want to record a video but you can't find the time, tie that task to another task. So if you're having a hard time blogging, tell yourself that every day when you finish up your all-team meeting at 11 o'clock, you have to sit down and write from 11 to 11:45 before you can eat lunch. Or if you want to record videos, more 2-minute videos, on Monday mornings after you drop your kids off from school, you cannot step foot in your office until you record a video. I know on Monday mornings what I need to do in order to make that video happen, right? And so I've just programmed it in my brain, and it becomes very habit forming. So tying it to another task rather than a time of day is a tip that I have for all of you to make it happen, because I've heard so many people say, I just don't have the time to do all this digital marketing. You can find the time, you just have to make the time to make it happen. Another couple questions that people had when it came to tools and SEO. There are free SEO tools that you can use out there. If you're a 20/10 user, I try to show this in every session that we have just because it is so powerful. And any platform that you're on, you should be able to look, but go into your page settings and make sure, please, 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 that your browser page titles have the location that you are in or the keyword you want to rank for. So if you are based in Cleveland, Ohio, your browser page title should say something like Cleveland, Ohio, financial planning. Financial. So the keyword that you want to rank most for should always come first, and then the secondary keyword, and then the name of your business. Go check out your browser page titles. You should be able to update this in other platforms. We make it really easy at 20/10, but tons of people will come to me and say, I'm not ranking high, and they're missing really simple things like their browser page titles don't have their keywords in them. Their SEO descriptions don't have their keywords in them. If you don't SEO, it really comes down to making sure you take care of the basics first. And if you are looking for more SEO help, we certainly have packages for that too. You can contact us. If you found this helpful, but there was a nugget of wisdom that I kind of briefly talked about that you would like us to talk about further, drop it in the chat quickly or put it in the Q&A. And I would love to create another presentation on it. The topics that you all are interested in, the calendar link was a good one. Maybe we should have a whole presentation on the different calendar options and what they integrate with and what the price points are and how can look on the website. There was lots of questions about that. But again, biggest takeaway, go set up your calendar links if you haven't already. But I'll stay on for another minute or so if you have any other questions. Again, feel free to let me know. And thank you all so much for another great interactive webinar. And we will look forward to hearing from you and seeing you all in the coming weeks. Take care, everybody.